Well, we're in the heart of Hollywood, in a little place called Mr. Freedom on Beverly Boulevard. The timeless is a big element of what we collect and what we make here. We are inspired by iconic pieces, iconic characters, iconic events, historical movements and scenes, and nothing we do is inspired by fads or something short-lived, you know. We have jump boots, we have flight jackets, chino pants, OD fatigues, and French jackets from probably the 20s. This one, I like the treasure hunt more than the kill somehow. Owning things is not my thing. I just like to find, I like to dig, I like to interact with people and get the stories of where that specific piece came from, and I like the remembrance of having found it somehow. That takes a lot of footwork, and obviously you don't find something every time you look for it. I found a while back, maybe 2 years ago, a huge grouping of French dead stock items from a manufacturing facility that went out of business, and they had prototypes of everything they had made, so everything was in there. Some prototype tweed suits, a lot of fabrics, a lot of vintage fabrics. So they are what we call dead stock, meaning never worn. I don't buy junk. I mean, I buy people's junk. Someone's junk might be, gold to me. Visually, and I don't. I restrict myself to things that inspire me. So there's nothing modern here. The only modern things are the things that we make. We're using vintage dead stock fabric to make those, and they are done upstairs in our little atelier. Yeah, I mean, making stuff has always been fun, and also to keep that one of a kind. Feel of vintage clothing. We also sometimes make just 5 pieces of one thing, and boom, we throw away the pattern and no more, Making new things was an extension of the lack of finding old, interesting things. I mean, after a while you get a little jaded, you think you've seen it all somehow, and then on a more shallow aspect, you can't find your size. So, started to combine all those elements, all those fabrics, those silhouettes from old photos of all movies, vintage detailing, to make them historically plausible, but not replicas and not duplicates of what has been done. Right now, I'm really into that French Apache concept in the turn of the century. French Parisian gangsters that used to terrorize Paris, and that had also so much charisma that a lot of fashion evolved from that group. Obviously, there's a very, very limited amount of photos because none of those gangsters wanted to be, to be shot. They were wearing those weird pants that were tapered on the bottom, some striped border T-shirts, some corduroy work jackets. It's a little strange, and the stuff they were wearing turn of the century, sometimes it sounds weirder than what we think it is. We all think of everyone wearing drab colors, browns and blacks, but it's not that. There was a lot of flamboyant colors, being worn, and not just by gangsters, or pimps. It was also the common people were into brighter stuff than we think they were into,